In the absence of the chair and due to the lack of an elected vice chair, I, as Secretary of the Planning Commission, am calling this meeting to order. The first order of business is to elect a temporary chair. At our next regularly scheduled meeting in August, when the entire Planning Commission is present, we will hold our regular election per Section 4-2 of the PC bylaws for chair and vice chair for the current fiscal year. Are there any nominations for a temporary chair?
I nominate Steve Shannon.
Are there any further nominations? If there are no further nominations, the Planning Commission will vote. Clerk, can you please call the roll for the nomination to elect Steve Shannon as temporary chair?
Larry.
Yes.
Correll.
Yes.
Shannon. Cottle.
Yes.
Steve Shannon is elected temporary chair, and I will hand the gavel over, and we will proceed with our regular agenda.
Thank you very much. Without going into a lot of detail, our chairman is just out for tonight. It's not a permanent thing. He will be back. So welcome everyone tonight. First thing we're going to do, as we always do, we're going to start off honoring our nation by the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before you sit, I'm going to carry on the tradition of our chairman, and just for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Be seated, please. Okay, our first order of business tonight is our minutes approval. If, Commissioner, if you want to take a quick second or minute and look through that, the minutes.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the minutes in the.
Yeah, they're not on.
Yeah, the minutes are not on here.
We can put it the last one.
We can put it in the next agenda.
Okay, we will, I saw that last night, I believe, because of some corrections, so that's a good thing. Okay, so we will defer the minutes approval to the next meeting. Next, we have citizens' time. Emily, do you want to make the announcement about the,
Yes. Today at 4 o'clock, we received a withdrawal of the ZTA application from the applicant's attorney. So this application was for a zoning text amendment to the B1 height regulations. So that public hearing will not be held this evening.
okay, thank you. So we will open up citizens' time, and I have a list of 5 personnel. So first up is Michelle Williams. Yeah, do you want? Yeah, you're here for, okay. This was signed up. I believe, Mr. Mitchell, same thing? Yeah. Your wait. Paula King? Okay. Okay. Dottie, Ms. Leonard?
I hope we'll still get it. Dottie Leonard, 14801 Washington Street, Haymarket. I hope we'll get a chance to speak again after they speak, if there's something they say.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I wanted to reiterate a little bit more on the things I said last night at the ARB. I wasn't aware of the sanction issue, so I was just talking about the things that I've noticed for a while, and that I think the Planning Commission has done an awesome job, and I have no complaints about the Planning Commission whatsoever. but the ARB, without an architect giving them advice, a couple of times, more than a couple, several times, have not made good decisions. And so because of that, I wanted to explain one of the issues, that when you all approve something or recommend approval to it and you refer it up to the council and you refer it to the ARB, you're trusting that they're going to protect the historic overlay and make sure that the siding is the right kind of siding, that the roof pitches are the right kind of pitches. And that was something that the ARB was discussing last night. So I don't know that you all necessarily, but because it's citizens' time, I wanted to clean up a little bit behind that and say that one of the issues has been that over 10 years ago, we had approved a special siding, hardy board or other like kind sidings that are strong and sturdy, and they're in Haymarket Station and probably in others. Haymarket Station was one of the last ones I served on the ARB for before I got really sick. So I'm saying that to have something that's going to last and look good, and I've driven through some of the neighborhoods that aren't very old, and they have a lot of siding that's crinkled and warped and bent and all of the above. And that's a direct reflection on the ARB. Yes, the builders shouldn't put that quality on there, but builders have been doing that for a lot of years, and we stopped it in Haymarket. So I don't know where the guidelines got changed, but in my memory, the Planning Commission was like a mother station to the ARB, as was the council a mother station to all of you. So I don't know what input you all can have. One of you is liaison to the ARB. So the right kind of siding, I've heard three people total, say that we're evolving. We are not evolving as long as that historic overlay is in place. The historic overlay gives you the power, gives the ARB the power, gives the council the power to enforce what looks right and goes with the town. If we want to continue, we've cleaned up across the street. We're going to have something new over there. The outside of this building looks awesome. It isn't perfect, but it is awesome compared to what it was. The parking lot is vastly improved. Even though I don't agree 100% with all the trees, that looks good. So we're getting somewhere, and the ARB, last night, someone on the ARB made a statement that the ARB guidelines were there to protect and save old structures. If that was the case, we would look like a dump, because I've seen a lot of dumps go down. The ARB historic overlay guidelines were put there to give teeth to us when applicants come up, to you when applicants come up, to the ARB when applicants come up, so that anything that gets built in the future looks like it was a part of something that was here in the beginning. It needs to go with what was adopted to begin with, and you perfect it as you go along. When you find out that something isn't well made, if there's a better material, then yes, you do change, but that's not evolving in what it looks like. The adopted colonial theme, the adopted colonial pattern in those brick sidewalks. There was a plan. So if you all and the council and the ARB need to come together and fix those guidelines back the way they were with only a few changes, it includes the sign ordinance. The idea is not to stop people from building, it's to help them build and help them build what looks good here. It's not to stop them from having signs. We want them to have signage. We want to know where they are so we can go there and give them business. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Bob Weir?
Bob Weir, 6853 St. Paul Drive, and thankfully the ZTA has been withdrawn, so I'll keep this real short. Even though the ZTA has been withdrawn, I think there's a couple of things that need to be borne in mind in the future. And that's that circumstances like this arise out of haste. Things get pushed through in far too hasty a fashion with far too little research and due diligence done on them. In reading the arguments or the applicant's summary as to why they required the CTA and their rationale for you to consider it and approve it, they refer to our ordinances as having anomalies in them with regard to height, and there not being any fairness and uniformity in the commercial district. Well, the state code gives the town that opportunity and that authority based on the comp plan, based on any number of factors to determine how growth and how construction within the town occurs. One of the things that's curiously missing is any sort of analysis of how this town compares to other towns, particularly with regard to height. There seems to be the indication from staff that they're in support of this zoning text amendment. If you look at the other towns that surround us, the 9 other towns in Loudoun and Prince William County, you will show that we're not anomalous. We're actually very, very close to what they do, although we may actually allow higher heights. Dumfries, for example, has different ordinances for the B1 and the B2, allowing an SUP in the B2 but not in the B1. It's curious that of the 9 towns, only 2 allow structures higher than 60 feet. So there's a lot more research that needs to go into these reports and a lot more consideration of what's going on elsewhere rather than just repeating what the applicant says in their justification letter. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that's not signed up? Okay. Then we will close citizens' time and we'll move on to item 5, which is a public hearing for SUP 2019001.
Can I have a brief recess
Yes.
to set up the
Yes,
projector?
please do. Chief, could I ask you to dim the lights over here, please, sir? Thank you. Yeah, a little bit. Thank you. Okay, Emily, is this your briefing, or is this Michelle's briefing? Okay, the applicant's going to give her briefing, then we'll open it up to public hearing. So, Michelle, please.
Real quick, actually, just a
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. So, I just wanted to start this evening with the staff report that's in our agenda packet tonight. This was a previous plan that the Planning Commission had an initial public hearing on several months back. At that time, the plan was submitted as a 44,000 square foot building requesting a special use permit for 3 stories of residential condos above commercial retail uses. Requested variances were also included for a parking reduction, shared parking model, and then there are also setback and landscape variances as well. So since then, the Planning Commission heard the application, citizens gave input to the initial application, and the applicant chose to revise the plan. Since the revisions were significantly different from the original submission, we did ask Michelle Williams to come back for a second public hearing for it. Therefore, we're here tonight. We were going to hear this application on June 17th. However, that meeting was canceled. So a revision was submitted. It reduced the building footprint to 29,000 square feet roughly. The request for the residential townhomes was became the new SUP request. There are no parking variances required, and the request to reduce the setback to the south property line was the only request on setback reduction. So you have my full report of how it analyzes with our SUP requirements. And if you follow along on page 4, with the above intent, so this is the zoning ordinance and the comprehensive plan excerpts, it is the town planner's understanding that the proposed mixed-use development will provide an expansion of retail services to the town, offer off-street parking to service this new development, architectural features to celebrate the town's history, and a walkable destination for current and future residents. Our second item here to analyze the SUP is it in accordance with the general purpose and intent of the applicable zoning district requirements. The requirements are stated here, and it is the town planner's understanding that this plan will be in accordance with the general purpose and intent of the B1 zoning district by providing additional retail shops and services to the town residents, which will also act as attractive pedestrian destinations. The residential portion of the project will provide an opportunity to blend the town center district with the surrounding residential district to create less of an intrusive blending of the districts. The applicant has amended this SUP to request the least intrusive, so fewer residential townhomes above the commercial retail in response to the initial public comment. The third item, the proposed use shall not adversely affect the use or values of surrounding properties and structures. I would like to point out that if you're looking at the property to your immediate right, you have a commercial business details for the home. And then if you're looking to the immediate left, you do have a residential property that exists as a non-conforming use in B1. These townhomes, along with the retail, will blend the two uses to either side together and create this less intrusive use. There is no indication that the proposed mixed-use structure will decrease the values of surrounding properties. However, for the most accurate information, an additional study on the economic value would need to be performed. Item 5, pedestrian and vehicular traffic generated by the proposed use shall not be hazardous or conflict with existing and anticipated traffic in the neighborhood. I would like to bring up that this area here is actually part of our Jefferson Street sidewalk project. That is something we're currently out to bid on. We are in hopes that the sidewalk there will be completed connecting the bridge all the way up to the town hall property. This would encourage additional pedestrian traffic across the property, and if for any reason this weren't to be done, it would be required for the applicant to do the sidewalk. The retail services will have vehicular use coming in and out each day. This will be something that is looked at by the Planning Commission during the site plan phase, as well as our outside review agency, VDOT, for appropriate entrances, exits, turn lanes, turning widths, and all of the above items. The vehicular traffic along Jefferson Street will be impacted, like I said, with the new entry and exit. This may require some timing of our light here in the center of town, and it may require some additional traffic signage and improvements to enhance the road and the movement. So it is my recommendation that the plan has been significantly modified to take into account the Planning Commissioner's original comments, the town planner's comments, and the comments that were heard that evening by the applicant from the public. As it's presented tonight, the planner is in support of the project as it blends the residential and the B1 zoning and gives walkable destinations for our current and future residents.
Okay.
With that, I would like to invite the applicant to give her presentation.
Good evening. It's good to see everyone again. I'm Michelle Williams, and the name of my company is Williams Holdings. I saw you all a couple of months ago, and it's good. It's the middle of the summer now. I know we're all in the midst of vacations and so forth, so I'm excited to kind of share with you again so that we can all regroup and understand the vision and the plan as we go forward. So, do I need to click anything?
Do you have someone who can sit there and click
You want me to
for
do it
you?
over here?
If you
Julie?
bring the mic.
Would you, I can volunteer my wife if she don't get me in trouble. She's IT expert, so she can figure it out. Thank you, Marchant. That may have saved me right there. Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Shannon, for volunteering.
Next slide, I guess. A little awkward. Okay. There we go. So this is just to kind of go over the overall vision. I always forget to put this thing next to me. The overall vision of this project is really to conform to your vision of the town, is that strolling, traffic, living, working kind of atmosphere in Haymarket to kind of maintain that small town feel and as you deal with the growth in this area as well. We're looking to build 7 townhomes as opposed to the previous plan, which was 27 condos. So big difference in scope there. And as Emily said, it's about half the square footage of what we planned. One apartment in the back over a 2-car garage, that will be an office space. Actually, that will be my space. And then 7 commercial spaces in the front that will have their own parking, and you'll see that on the overall site plan. This will also bring new revenue streams into the town from the businesses in the front and, of course, from the residents from the townhomes. Thank you. So here's a overview, aerial view of the property right next to the town hall here with Mrs. Bailey in the middle there. And if you remember Mrs. Bailey, she did speak at the public hearing at the last meeting, and she did support my project. So she's been very instrumental in giving me guidance on how to do it, and so I've been working with her and listening to her needs and concerns as well, because she is the kind of only resident sandwiched between us there. So, but she's been fantastic. So she would like me to put a fence up there, and I plan to do that for her on that side. That will match her other fence on the other side. So anyway, that's just an aerial view. So it's about almost an acre of land. And here's the photos as you look to the left, and you see the neighbor, Mrs. Bailey, there from the street view. And then if you go to the next slide, you'll see the other You can barely see details for the home through the trees there as we face the other way. So those are the two neighbors that I have on each side. So we are requesting, of course, approval of our special use permit tonight with our revised drawing of 29,000 square feet, mixed use of retail and residential, no parking variance is required. A reduction to the setback for the driveway is one of our special exception requests that we're asking, and you'll see that as we go on to the next slides where you'll see the overview of the site plan. So here's Jefferson Street here, and then there'll be two ways to enter into the commercial section, which these will be the storefronts here. There'll be parking in the front, and there'll be some additional places there, parallel part, where the sidewalk area will be built. The residents will be going in through here to get to the back where their homes were, and they'll have two-car garages, so they'll have enough space.
Thank you.
They'll have enough space where they'll be able to park 4 cars there if they need to, 2 in the garage and 2 on the drive pad. And then the apartment office is over there. It will have its own garage where 2 cars can park in there. So this will be green space in the back. We'll have trees alongside here with a fence, trees in the front, and a little bit of green space on this side with the existing trees that are on that property. Any questions about that before we go on?
I have none.
Isn't the setback is just that driveway on the left
Right.
side, right? Not the back side, it was just the left side?
Right,
Okay.
And that's the one that butts up against Miss Bailey,
yes.
and which she's very supportive of.
She's supportive of
this.
that,
So,
yes.
okay, thank you.
This is the next set of pictures you're going to see. I want to make sure I put a disclaimer on them. They are concepts that have been done, but they are not done to scale, and I don't want you to have the impression that this is exactly how it will look, but these are the concepts that we have in mind and the vision that we want to implement. So this is one of these drawings here. Each townhome will be approximately 3,000 to 3,200 square feet. They will have elevators in them. As I said before, they'll be able to park 4 per townhome, 4 spaces per townhome, 2 in the garage, 2 in the drive pad. The commercial units will be approximately 950 to 960 square feet. Likely some business owners may need 2 to really fit their business comfortably in there. And the commercial parking is expected at 23 spaces. The green space requirements are met. Expected completion, we would look to complete the project by next fall, probably towards the end. And we would expect to also do the project in a mix of different surfaces such as brick and hardy board or some sort of siding like that. That would, be commensurate with what we have in the town. And we'll work through that with the ARB. So we have been talking to some local builder for this project, and we're currently in negotiations now about how that would work and what they would provide. This just kind of re-emphasizes that it'd be 7 townhomes and 7 units in the front that are commercial spaces. And this is our timeline. Land acquisition is due to go to settlement in August. The special use permit application was filed in June, and the site plan submission we're targeting August. It might be a little later depending on, what we need to do plan-wise revisions. And then, of course, we'd seek site plan approval and then begin development and construction. And our sales, we'd like to start immediately in the winter, late fall, early winter. So here is a concept of the elevation of what the building would look like. So here would be the storefront areas here. The storefront areas here, and they would open from the front. They also would be the accordion doors that could open and nice for restaurants, cafes, sitting areas outside. And if you remember that site plan, there was quite a bit of side patio space there, that this is really a nice concept for them. And then the residents would live upstairs. And then this is a little bit more finished elevation concept with the parking laid out and how the landscape could possibly look, but it would be enough for you to see a vision of what we have in mind. You can see here the driveway to get to the back. So that would be the exception of the setback. And this is a side view and just a sample of what the accordion doors could look like in the front. We thought we'd like to show you that, and just a side view of the townhome, of the concept of what that could look like as well. Here's the back entrance. If you're wondering what the back might look like, this is the concept that we liked for the back. It's used in other places, and it's nice, it's attractive. You know, this is what we chose as our concept. Okay. This just goes into more of the space plan of how these things might be laid out. So we can go to the next slide. More detail of how the stairs and the elevator shafts would work inside of the units. More of the other side of the building. More layout. Here's an example of how the retail and the residential would be combined. And then more photographs and graphic images of the same. So if you recall, the very first time I came, there was some homeowners, residents in the area that, you know, had expressed some concern, and I just kind of wanted to go over that for a minute. So in the previous plan, we had 44,000 square feet. They were concerned about the girth of the building, basically. And so we reduced that plan to 29,000. So we did address that. We requested a special use permit for the mixed uses of retail and residential, and that still stands. We're still requesting that. And the variances in the first plan were quite a few. We had parking variances, we requested a shared parking model, and overflow to nearby lots. We don't have any parking variances in this plan. Requested setback requirements to the side and the rear to be reduced to the commercial standards, which is none. And so in this plan, we do still need a setback, but it's for the drive-through to the back, in which we coordinated that with Mrs. Bailey, and she was approving of that from her side. So that just to show you how we address the needs that the community had brought up. And this is the same thing in a little bit more detail. So the only thing to close on this is that we know that there is a nice sidewalk project going on. We just would like to be able to coordinate with whoever's leading that, whoever you select, to ensure that we don't have to do double work. You know, we can kind of coordinate and get things synced up as far as ingress and egress of the property. And we would like to, you know, use maximum use of the property as far as the building and the parking lot and all in the green space. So with that said, I'll open it up for any questions that anybody might have.
Any questions up here?
I do. I was wondering if Mrs. Bailey decides to sell her property in the future, would you consider expanding, so looking at your end stakes? I know you had to reduce the square footage from your original plan. I don't know if that's something to consider in the future. Are you planning for that, or have you thought about that?
I've asked her if she's interested in selling. She's not at this time.
Right. But eventually, if the property comes available.
Eventually, I mean, certainly I'd take a look at it, but I don't have any plans
at this moment.
Yeah.
Okay. I just noticed because you had to fit as the road and the property are not perfectly square, right? So you kind of had to rotate a little bit to meet all of our standoff distances. So if you're considering expanding, would it make sense to still have it rotated, right? So I'm just trying to think of like
Oh,
the
I
end
see.
state, you know, and see if you're going to, because once you build it, obviously it's there, right?
Well,
It's
once-
not going to be able to adjust it at that point.
Right, so the site plan document that we did, the architect did take that into consideration in how he placed the building.
Right, to fit into
Yeah.
the existing, but I'm thinking if you expand it, does it make sense then as well? Or is it, because it seems like it's kind of coming off the road further a little bit? I'm just wondering if your end state is eventually to
It's not
possibly.
my goal, no.
Okay, all right. Because now is the time to adjust things. That's my only question.
Okay. Anything? Okay, thank you very much. Chief, if you'll, Ms. Shannon, thank you very much. You did very well. I'll take you to Swirlies later. So, I'm going to read my script here. Thank you, Miss Emily, making sure I don't mess this up. We're holding one public hearing tonight on special use. I'll briefly explain the rules for the public hearings. The purpose of a public hearing is to hear from interested members of the community about the advisability of taking a proposed zoning action. The Planning Commission will then be able to make recommendations to the Town Council, which has the ultimate decision-making power. In the case tonight, we'll be hearing public comments on a proposed special use permit, case SUP 2019-001, to allow mixed residential and commercial development at 6604 and 6608 Jefferson Street. Please try to limit your comments to 3 minutes, if possible, and limit your comments to the impact of the proposed zoning action on the community. Matters such as parking, traffic compatibility with existing structures, and noise are all appropriate topics for comment. Speakers must direct their comments to the Planning Commission here, not the audience. We generally do not engage in a back and forth during the public hearings. I'll now open the public hearing on the SUP 2019-001, but first we'll hear a presentation by Ms. Lockhart, the town planner, after which I will invite members of the public to come up to the podium to present their comments.
Since I've done my presentation and the applicant, I'm ready to invite the public up to make comment.
Okay, so at this time, we'll open up the public comments. Michelle, Ms. Williams, do you have anything else?
No, I'd just like to request approval so that we can get moving.
Okay.
Of course, it's a lot of organizers, as you know, and
Okay. Mr. Mitchell, do you have anything, sir? If you're good to go? Ms. King, Paula King is gone. Ms. Leonard, any comments? Yes, ma'am.
Did I understand Ms. Lockhart to say that the adjoining property is zoned B1 but non-conforming use as residential?
I'll get back to you on that directly.
Okay, that's what I thought you
Okay.
said. That's important to me. I think it's a splendid project. I love the design. I don't think it's too much. If all of those properties are B1, I don't know why she would have to even have that much of a setback from the other property, because a non-conforming, if it's a non-conforming use, but it's zoned B1, that would make a difference. She wouldn't have to have that setback. But it looks good, it's not too much. It will finish that corner. I'm all for it.
Thank you.
Chairman, if I may?
Yes.
Ms. Leonard, you are correct. I misspoke. The property is residentially zoned currently. I apologize for that.
You've been around a day or two, Ms. Leonard. Thank you for,
I listen.
yes, you do. Any comments? Anyone else like to speak? Okay, on the podium here, on the dais, any questions or comments?
I think we've heard it a few times, so we've had a chance to think about it. And I'm good with it.
I have to tell you, from the first time that Ms. Williams spoke in the original plan, it's changed drastically, and I think, I can't speak for the council, even though I'm on the council, I think this is my perspective, this is a good plan, good project. It'd be good for this town. As far as the home values, same thing. I don't know whether they'll go up or not. I sure hope so, since I live close by. So if there's no other comments, we'll close the public hearing. And we will skip agenda item 6, which is the public hearing that was pulled as the ZTA for the B1 height regulations. So we will go to 7, which is the SUP 2019-001 is amended. Williams Holdings, 6604 and 6608 Jefferson Street. Is this, if you go down page 7, correct me if I'm wrong, Emily, this is where we want to make our motion?
Yes, this is the opportunity if the planning commission has any further questions, any discussion items. If not, you do have a motion if you feel you're ready to make it.
If you look on page 7,
Yes.
unless you have any more questions, if one of you would like to make a motion.
I move the Planning Commission recommend approval to Town Council for the 7 residential townhome units above commercial retail at 6604 and 6608 Jefferson Street, with the condition that the applicant follow the proposed concept plans submitted and the application materials.
Second.
Any discussion? Any others?
Does this include the setback as well?
That's correct, and that'll come back up for site plan review to the planning commission.
Okay. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Larry,
Yes.
Morel,
Yes.
Shannon.
Yes. Okay. Motion moved. Congratulations. We'll get it on to the town council now. Get back up to the agenda here.
Looks like new business.
Thank y'all very much for coming out. Okay, now for new business, item 8, RV camper, other recreational vehicle ordinance. Emily, you want to
Yes.
brief us there?
So this is a new item. There's nothing in your packet yet. This was kind of a placeholder so I could talk to you guys about it. The council has given a directive to staff to start working on an RV, camper, and other recreational vehicle ordinance. So what we've noticed is we have a lot of residents within the town that are starting to park RVs along their streets, on their property, et cetera. So we're looking to have an ordinance developed, vetted by the public, the commission, council, and go forth with taking care of the current eyesores, if you will. So this is something that will be coming up to you guys soon. I'll most likely be working with this with Chief as well as our attorney to develop a draft, and then we will vet it with commission. So if you guys have any questions, comments, anything of the nature, please let me know. I'm happy to look into certain things, or if you know of other ordinances that already address this matter and there's something you like in there, we're happy to research that.
Any other towns have this ordinance?
Yes, several do. So we'll look into the surrounding jurisdictions,
Okay.
who has them, and most likely adopt something similar.
Yeah, we don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Correct.
So, okay, thank you.
You had one question.
Okay.
We also consider commercial vehicles in there, and do we have something for commercial vehicles parked on property?
We can look into that, what we currently have, and if we can change it to beef it up any.
Okay.
And there's HOA policies too for commercial vehicles in some HOAs.
Right.
So, but
But
town-wise,
nothing
yeah,
town-wise, yeah.
it's a good point.
Mhm.
Absolutely good point.
That's all I have for new
Okay.
business.
You have any old business?
The citizen survey is going live. I know it's been a long time coming, but we will be sending out a newsletter. It's our annual or quarterly newsletter that we send out every few months. On the front bottom page, it will have the link to go find the citizen survey. We will also put it up on the main website page. We'll make it very easily accessible. We'll also have it out on social media. I just want to remind everyone The citizen survey is open to all citizens, not just our residents. We were trying to look at ways to make sure it's just residents, but then we decided that we would want to include our outside community as well, because any feedback is good feedback. So that will be going live in probably the next week or two. When we send out the newsletter, the link will go live.
Question there, we send out the newsletter, what about our text alerts? Can we send something out? I know we get our text alerts, which is great. Is there a possibility to include that in text alerts?
Absolutely. We can do a kind of a brief note. We're limited to 160 characters.
Right.
But we'll put
Short,
something
sweet, and
out
to the
about,
point, but okay.
yeah, check the website.
Probably send out a tiny URL so that they can just click it and take them to the survey.
You're gonna have to help with that, Ayush.
He's IT
can
genius.
just-
up
yeah.
there. Okay, thank you. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Anything else?
Do you know when is it gonna end though? So like, what's the period?
I
Like,
think we're going to leave it open for a couple months.
Couple months,
We want to
okay.
give everyone the opportunity. And then also, we'll probably leave it open until after Haymarket Day so that at our booth, we can also say, hey, did you take an opportunity to take it?
Good.
So,
Just a recommendation, and you're probably already doing this, that we don't leave it open-ended, that we actually set the date and stick to the date, of when we're going to close it out.
how does November 1st sound?
That's fine, that's fine.
Good.
That
Great, yeah.
works.
That lets us capture some people at Haymarket Day, give them about 2 weeks
Yeah.
after, and then close it out. So I'll pick the Friday closest to November 1st. I don't have a calendar. in
Okay.
front of me.
That works. That works. Any other questions, or? I just don't like to leave open-ended
Right.
items. It's, my staff will tell you that at work. But,
It is Friday? Ooh, spot on.
okay. What day is it?
It is
The Friday.
Friday. The
November
oth-
1st?
Yes, sir.
Good
The
day.
other item I have for old business, we can expect tentative construction to start for the playground on September 9th.
Awesome.
So I will be doing walkthroughs of the property with the playground contractor and construction team. We're gonna rope off a good portion of the park up there to give plenty of room for all the equipment, et cetera. So portions of the park will be closed to the public during this time. We'll also walk and make sure everything's in the place it was agreed upon. So that's exciting news. And then they expect 12 days for installation, and then we'll be open well before Haymarket Day. So hopefully we can have at least a little ribbon cutting one Saturday morning or something.
That's awesome.
The other item I have is August 24th. Kind of a planner update, but we have a Haymarket Music Fest, so this is going to be one of our first concerts that will be in the park, so we won't rope anything off at the playground until after this event. But this is an event to raise money for the ALS Foundation in memory of Debbie Aiken. We have several musicians and bands coming out, and most of them are playing not-for-profit, so it was a really nice, heartwarming thing that they're doing to help us out. We'll also have food and craft vendors, and it's just going to be a whole fun afternoon for the whole family. This will be at our park, so it's kind of our first really big event, aside from Haymarket Day, to host up there. And then you'll also have an opportunity to purchase a raffle ticket to dunk our chief of police or mayor in the Ice Bucket Challenge.
He doesn't
That's a
know.
good thing.
Yeah,
He just found out.
by the way. So it should be a lot of fun. We'll definitely go ahead and start advertising the Ice Bucket Challenge, those things. So feel free to share that with all your neighbors. And if you have an HOA, if you have the president's information, let us know so we can directly get that out to them. Or if you have anywhere else you feel we should share it. So that's all I have for old business as well.
When's our National Night Out?
August 6th from 5:30 to 8:30.
Yeah, August 6th. That's, so August 6th, yeah, that's a big event. And I mean, it was well-attended last year. Truly gives us an opportunity to support and show our appreciation for our law enforcement. We usually have various elected officials out too that stop by and stuff like that. I'm looking forward to that, Chief. It's always a good time. So, okay, is that it for old business?
That is.
Okay, ARB update?
Yes, so we had our meeting yesterday. We had a few agenda items. We had the Haymarket Hotel Ventures, which was the building up front. They submitted an application for demolition, which was denied because they hadn't applied. We had asked them to do a little more due diligence as to what they could do with the building and provide more materials in writing. None of that was done, so I think we unanimously denied the permit. There was one for Taco Bell at the Haymarket Village, right? Crossroads Village. And they came in with their review. We tabled it, and after giving them some feedback, and I think they're going to come back next time. And there was one for the old BB&T building, where the planning commission had approved the dentist, Dr. Moon, and they came in with their additions that they wanted to put on with regards to the drive-through and everything, about how they were going to approach that, and that was approved with some conditions with Emily, right?
Yes, so the signage as well as the materials were approved for that. The planning commission, I would think by September's meeting, will be receiving the site plan for their addition.
Okay. Thank you. As far as the town council, did you have anything else? I'm sorry.
No, I think that was about it. I think after that, I think every other update was what Emily had said.
Okay. Town council update, we had a continuation meeting last night where we talked a little bit about our budget, the amendment, that's forthcoming. And that was primarily it, wasn't it, last night, Emily, I believe? It was a quick meeting, which was good. Couple things before I'll take a motion to adjourn. Chairman Cottle, as I said, again, hopefully he's watching and listening. We missed you tonight. We look forward to you returning. Thank you for your support as the vice chair. Certainly, I am not Chairman Cottle, but got us through tonight. Thanks to everyone. Last thing, I wanted to thank Chris Spidler for coming, for sitting in as our counsel tonight. Thank you very much for being here. So at this time, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Vice Chair, Temporary Chair, I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
So carries. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I get to use this. We're adjourned. Matt never used that. I did.
Yeah.